Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Farah and today is the start of a new vlog. We are in September now. Well, the end of August, but you're not going to see this until September, I'm sure. Maybe even October. But anyway, yeah, we got home from Maine. A wonderful trip out there, and I wanted to show you guys our sunflower field, which I was showing you some clips of before when it was growing, but it is finally in full bloom. It's a tiny bit past peak, but it's really pretty, so I just want to show you guys. So let's head outside and take a look. So as you can see, they're all in bloom. They are gorgeous. It really doesn't do it justice on this little phone camera, but in real life, it's so beautiful and bright and yellow, and most of them are facing the road, which is really cool. So yeah, this was such a nice surprise to come home to when we got home from Maine 2 days ago, just to see the field all in bloom. And today's Saturday, so it's going to be pretty busy. We invite the public to come and just walk around and take pictures, and they can purchase flowers, I think, for $1 each. But yeah, it's going to be a busy day just of helping out. But they're just so beautiful. It's probably only going to look this pretty for a few more days, and then the flowers will start to droop down as they go to seed. And ultimately, they're planted so that we can harvest the sunflower seeds to use as bird seed all winter long. So I think when I asked my uncle, he said there's probably about 100,000 sunflowers in here. And I'll also put some drone footage in that we took, which really you can see, you know, I think it depicts it a little bit better. Love to come out here before we open it to the public, and then I love to come out here after it's closed and just walk through. It's so quiet and peaceful and beautiful, and it's just one of those things where it's only really in bloom for such a short time that it feels really special when it is all lit up like this. Sorry about the lighting, it's horrible, but that's kind of the point of vlogging, right? You just try to pick up your camera and talk when the mood strikes, and I can't wait for better lighting. So just wanted to touch in on a couple books that I started reading. I know in the beginning of the vlog I had a lot of stuff going on, but I did kind of pare it down to just 2 books that I'm focusing on finishing right at the moment. So my audiobook this month so far is called Entwined by Heather Dixon, and this is a fairy tale retelling of the old fairy tale called The 12 Dancing Princesses. Now, a couple points real quickly. I think the writing is really nice. It has a really beautiful feel to it. The language is nice. She paints a very pretty picture of what's going on. The audio narrator has a, I would say, standard British accent, nothing deviating from that sort of everyday British English accent that you would think of. And the audio narrator is pretty good. I'm not truly loving this as audio though. We're focusing on 12 different girls, aging range from 16 all the way down to a newborn. So she does do multiple voices for all of these girls. And when she gets to the really little kids, I know it's probably really difficult to be a voice actor and to portray children because you have to raise your voice up higher and speak a little differently. And sometimes I just don't think that plays off very well. So that's just like every time she does the voice for a younger child, it's kind of like, ugh. I had the same problem with Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. Whenever she would act the child who was 2, it always just kind of, it didn't work well for me. So besides that, she does a pretty good job, but I don't know if I would truly recommend the audio, just starting that off like that. So the premise of the book is that we're following the main point of view character whose name is Azealia. She has 12 sisters. Their mother recently passed away. They're all princesses. They live in this kingdom with their father, who's kind of an uptight king. He's really strict, not a lot of warmth. They don't even call him dad or father. They call him Papa, or they call him King. So they have a kind of a difficult relationship with him, and they are currently in mourning for a year over the death of their mother. The mother died shortly after the youngest daughter, Lily, was born, and so the sisters are taking care of her, and you know, they're young, they really miss their mother, but a whole year of just staying locked inside the castle has been very difficult for them. They love to dance. Long story short, if you know the fairy tale, they find a magical corridor within the castle, and it's led to this sort of magical world, magical silver forest, and there's a ballroom where all these people get together and dance each night. It's kind of run by our antagonist, which is known as the Keeper, and he apparently is under a curse from the ancient High King, who has cursed him to be sort of trapped in that little world forever. So to escape the mourning process and the mundane day-to-day life, they sneak down to this little magical chamber and they dance all night. You know the story. So I guess just to make a long story short, I'm not really loving it. I think the writing's nice, like I said. It maybe just isn't quite a book for me. A lot of people really love this though, and if you go on Goodreads and look at the reviews, a lot of people really enjoyed this book, so I think it's really just me. It's a little bit too cutesy and sweet. There's not a ton of plot going on. It's supposed to be a retelling, and I'm not really super familiar with the story. I mean, the only adaptation I really know of is the Barbie movie that they made, which I watched with my daughters a while ago, of the 12 Dancing Princesses, which is a fan favorite, I know. But so maybe the descriptions aren't there, but I keep just picturing it as that. I'm picturing all these characters in a cartoony way. There's so many sisters to keep track of. I can't really remember what each one looks like. I know some have red hair, some have blonde hair. There's one that's super pretty above the rest of them. And our main character, Azealia, she's good. She takes on the role of the mother, though. She's very overwhelmed. She's very angry. And the Keeper is sort of creeping his way into becoming a villain. I don't know. I guess I'm not really into this book. I'm excited. I'm about halfway through, and I should have DNF'd it probably, but since I've made it this far, I might as well listen to it more. It also is a very long book. I think it's about 500 pages. It's a 14-hour audiobook, which I feel like maybe is a bit too long for me for this type of story. But I'm going to I listen to it at work, so, you know, no time lost there. But yeah, I'm going to keep going with it. But unless there's a huge plot twist or something else that's going to happen, you know, I would probably rate this for me personally as a 2.5, 3. It's okay. A little disappointed. I thought it was going to be a little bit better than what it is. I thought it would have more interesting retelling aspects of it, but it still is that same patriarchal, the king is in charge. These daughters are going to be all in arranged marriages eventually, and there's a courting going on right now, and these girls are like 16, 15, 14, the ages that they're being courted by these older diplomats and men, so that's just creepy in itself. But yeah, so I don't know. I'd love to know if any of you read this book or if you like fairy tale retellings in general. I think I generally do, just have to find the right one and the right twist to it. So that is the audiobook that I'm listening to now. And then the physical book that I am reading is, actually have it with me, is Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. And this is a first-time book by this author for me. I think she wrote something called Dear Edward before, which may have been pretty popular. I'm not sure. Yeah, it must have been a bestseller. This book, actually, I really am liking, though. It's kind of funny because both Entwined and Hello Beautiful really focuses a lot on the relationship that sisters have within each other. This is kind of not a retelling of Little Women, but it has elements of Little Women within this, and they talk about the novel Little Women within the book. The sisters talk about it within each other. So we're following William and his wife Julia, and Julia's three sisters, Sylvie, and then twins Evelyn and Cecilia. And it's kind of just a story of sibling relationships and love, and each sister is really different from each other. So in contrast with the other book, I am having an easier time keeping track of which sister is which. They all have really different personality traits, which are interesting. There's one that I really relate with a lot, one of the sisters. And it just talks about them going through a loss. They have a loss within the family that's really sad, and it affects each of them differently. They all had a different relationship with this person. And it is interesting to see how one person can really tell you a lot about yourself and can point out the things about you that make you special that maybe you didn't know before, or maybe the majority of people don't necessarily pay attention to or realize about you. But when that one person tells that to you and says, this is why I love you, your mind works this way, and you view life this way, and you appreciate things in this way, and I notice that about you, and I really appreciate that, and I love that about you. And just seeing how that can blossom within someone else. I'm kind of at a point where I realized that within the book, and it's a really beautiful moment that one of the daughters has with this person. I think it's really well written. I'm loving the writing style so far. I'm loving the setting that she's portraying. Again, there's not a ton of things happening within the plot. This is definitely like a literary fiction, general fiction type of book. So there's a romance, but it's not a huge focus of the book. They're already together. I think it's mainly just a book about families and love, and how to overcome certain things that come up, challenges that come up that can seem so devastating at the time. But in the grand scheme of things, maybe you get through it, and you're loving each other for the people that you are, for the people that they are, and you're accepting these different flaws within them. And there's always two ends of a stick, in my opinion, when you view people. I really truly feel that everybody has a very positive side to them as well as a negative side. And when you choose to focus on that positive side of them, a lot of times that's what you'll see. That's the reality that you'll attract to yourself. So that is something that I work on in my own life and my own challenging relationships. It can be so easy to focus on the negativity of somebody else, especially if it's somebody you live with or somebody that's close to you and your family, or a friend or a coworker that you are around a lot. And so the easier path is to focus on the negativity, and the easier choice is just to let that annoyance kind of fester within you. But when you stop and you make a conceited effort to really make a list of what is positive about somebody, and maybe they view the world differently than you, but it's in there. That's kind of why I love fairy tale retellings. To get back to the other book, I love fairy tale retellings that focus on the villain and we see a different side of them, such as Wicked, or the Once Upon a Time series that is on Disney Plus. So yeah, I am, again, there's not a ton of plot. I'm not really going to get into the plot too much, but this is a very popular book. I think it's trending a lot right now. And again, I really like the writing. So I'm not too far into it. I'm only about that far in. So we'll see where everything goes with that. But yeah, I just wanted to check in and let you know how I was doing. And I really appreciate your kindness and those of you that leave comments for me in my videos. It's so encouraging. I really, really appreciate it. It just helps remind me that there are a few of you watching, and it just encourages me to keep making videos because I like making them anyway. So why not, right? And a special thank you to Fred from Read by Fred. You just let me know about this Shake Timber reading sort of project that's going on. As I'm filming this, we're about a week into September, so I think I am going to pick out a couple, maybe at least one Shakespeare book that I have on my shelf to try to read for that. Good job. Hey everybody, I'm in my car once again at my daughter's soccer practice, but I just wanted to pop on and mention this adorable book that I just read. I'm actually just outside the library. I was in there wasting time for a little while, but I read this really adorable graphic novel called Heartstopper, and I know this has been very hyped up. I think there's 4 volumes out now, and the volume that came out most recently, I think, won the Goodreads Pick of the Year for Best Graphic Novel. So I definitely wanted to give it a shot. I love graphic novels. And this book is really, really sweet and cute, and it follows these 2 teenage boys. One's name is Charlie, and he is an openly gay student in year 10. I think it takes place in England and maybe the London area or so. And he kind of got outed at his school, and he was bullied for a little while, but he got through all that. And he's probably, I think, one of the only openly gay kids in the whole school, and it is an all-boys school. He's kind of secretly meeting up with this other kid now and then, but it's not really a good situation. But he does meet this other boy named Nick, who's a year older than him, and Nick and him become really fast friends, and Nick encourages him to join their rugby team, and they just bond a lot, and this beautiful friendship unfolds. The character of Nick is so sweet and kind and accepting, and there's like these moments of chemistry that happen, and we see kind of what happens to Nick as he, you know, realizes his feelings may be different than what he always thought they were. And it's just kind of a beautifully written, sweet book that really captures the emotion of your first crush or a high school crush and the emotions that you go through. And it only took me about an hour to read it, so I already finished it. And it was so heartwarming and cute, and you know, just a really sweet novel. Really enjoyed it, Heartstopper. I'll definitely be continuing in this series. Hey everybody, so I am outside on the porch reading on my Kindle for a little while. There's a little thunderstorm going on. It's mostly just heat lightning, but there is some cracks of thunder. It's on and off raining, but I love to come out here and read as long as it's not too crazy. But I picked up the Amber Spyglass, just trying to read a couple pages of this, and then I gotta go inside and do a few more things. But yeah, just wondering if you guys ever like to read during thunderstorms, or if you have a porch. One of my favorite things about this house is this porch. I sit on it every day and read, basically, if I can. But yeah, I just love it. It's still really hot out, but it's gonna thunderstorm for a couple more hours, so I'm sure it'll cool things off a bit. Cows are getting very antsy because they want to go on the other side of this field right here. So they must have seen my uncle setting up a fence because they're all literally waiting, ready to go. Just popping in for a quick update. So it's pretty late. I'm super tired. I just wanted to film this real quickly before I go to sleep, but I did finish 2 books. I finished Entwined, which was my audiobook, and I didn't really like it. I hate to say that about a book, but I don't think it was for me. I felt like the book was really overwritten. There was a lot of filler pages in there. It took a really long time for anything really to happen. I didn't really connect with the characters very well. There was way too many sisters. I couldn't keep track of them all. And I thought the magical system was a bit confusing. It didn't really work well for me. The whole idea of the older sisters who are like ages 16, 15, and 14 being matched up with these older men was really off-putting for me, so I didn't like that part of the story. I can see how some might find the romance within that, but I just found it creepy. There's a great scene though with the dad and the 14-year-old, which I was like, yes, good dad. That's a good dad there. But overall, I do understand it was a YA fantasy retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, so I know that I wasn't really the target audience for it. So I think I'm just learning that YA can kind of be a hit or miss for me, YA fantasy. It's something I thought was a genre that I liked, but I've read two recently, Gallant and then this, and they've kind of been duds. So I'm glad I tried it though. I'm not sure what my next audiobook's going to be yet. Oh, I do actually know. So I am doing 2 different little challenges for the month of September, but I am going to try reading Romeo and Juliet. I would like to read all 3 of the plays that they're doing in this challenge, which is hosted by Kelly, whose channel is Books I'm Not Reading, and her husband and another woman that I also started following on YouTube. So they have 3 plays that they're doing. They're doing Romeo and Juliet and William III, and then I think Anthony and Cleopatra. So, and ideally I would love to do all 3, but at least going to try to do Romeo and Juliet. I'm also going to try to participate in Shorty September, and that is where you read books that are less than 200 pages, I believe, so shorter books. I already finished 1 book for that challenge, and it was a children's classic. So I was cleaning out, I'm trying to declutter our house, and I was going through the girls' bookshelves, and I found this old copy of Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. And I've always wanted to read this. I grew up watching the cartoon that they made based on the book, and I loved it. It was like one of my favorite cartoons, and I did end up reading this. It only took me a day or so, and it was so precious and cute and just so well written. I'll have more thoughts when I do my vlog or my roundup for that, but it was so good. It was the perfect children's classic in my opinion. It had all the elements that I love with a children's classic. It was adorable, and it was cozy, and it was a quick read, and it was easy to read, and it had such beautiful messages within that I think that if you gave this to any child to read, it would enhance them. It would enhance their brain and their mind and just instill really sweet values within them. So I really enjoyed Charlotte's Web. That was a surprise. I was ready to just throw it in the donating bin, but I'm really glad I picked it up and read it. It was super cute. So I have a couple more books I'm going to try to read for Shorty September, but I will get into all that in my next vlog. I just wanted to just kind of wrap up my thoughts real quickly on Entwined. I'm still working on Hello Beautiful, which is my physical book, my general fiction book, and that's going well. So we are headed to our final camping trip of the season tomorrow morning. We're going down to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We might try to make a stop in Gettysburg. I'm not sure if we'll be able to swing that, but really excited about that. But I'll pick up the vlog tomorrow for the new vlog and just let you know more about these challenges and how I'm doing with my reading. Hopefully I can get some reading done. But I just wanted to say, as usual, thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for anybody new that's come to visit my channel. I really appreciate it. It's fun getting to know more of you as time goes on, but I really hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video.